coming. I hear their voices whispering. I feel their tears dreaming me. I hear their yearning suspended in ice. What happens now? Waters are rising. Waters are rising. What happens now? The waters are rising. Waters are rising. These ancient wonders holding seas, the sounds from before we could speak, before the first song couldn't describe. A fantasia so pure, where mountains making love to the night, piercing the sky. On this quiver, fires crack open, a calligraphy of volcanoes, humming ash to poems of land, temples to the sky. Frozen in glacier, my heart is frozen. Shattered and caving, devastating. What happens now? The waters are rising. Waters are rising. What happens now? The waters are rising. Waters are rising.
Hello, you beautiful and wondrous beings. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like Ariel in The Little Mermaid when she's like showing all of her treasures that she's collected about the human realm, but instead it's me showing all of these beautiful beings that are from the water realms and the water worlds, and also the water stars and star systems and suns. And I just want you to feel really cozy, really at home in this beautiful opening video transmission for the waters. I'm just gonna put it out there. There has been quite a bit of resistance in sitting down and filming this video without interruption, but the frequency is the frequency for this opening video because we are in the Mayan time at 13 Kan today. And 13 Kan is a very, very high frequency, and inherently it's just a dragon stream, a dragon flow. Kan represents the dragon or the plumed serpent, Nawal, or archetype in our calendar in Mayan time. And what's associated with Kan is life force energy. So you could call it chi, you could call it kundalini, mastery of the serpentine and dragon frequencies, frequency of the teacher, again, the embodied teacher, the teacher that went out and brought everything back down, 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 as the serpent does. The serpent rises and the serpent descends and anchors all of that goodness here on the earth. So it's embodied, it's physical, material, as much as it is cosmic and etheric and immaterial. It's more than just concepts, it's more than just possibilities. When we bring it back down through the body and we offer it to not only the earth herself, but the waters of Gaia herself, we are doing such a beautiful service to all of humanity, all of our lineage, our future generations, our future descendants, Earth's future inhabitants, future beings, for the waters. That's what we're here for. This is a portal, an inner sanctum, and a collaborative effort on so many levels, collaborations with other beautiful dragons and ethereal goddesses and priestesses, as well as the stream of the Ma collective, as I call it, or the stream of Mariam. So it's like a divine mother stream. It's a very high frequency caliber of connection. So it's like, who do we turn to? We're not necessarily turning to maybe masters or guides or gurus or mentors that we turn to in the past. This is more about actually upgrading our connections, upgrading our stream, our personal stream. So our waters within, which connect to the waters without, which connect to the Milky Way, which connect to the Ma, which connect to Source itself, and everything in between. So first of all, thank you for being here. You are a miraculous being already for having said yes to this very watery, fluid, mysterious, but not that mysterious, because something called you, something pulled you to this particular work, to this particular journey of self-mastery, journey of becoming the divine feminine that feels so at home with her waters, but also with all waters. That means with all relations, with all our connections, with all our streams, with the earth herself, with just everything that is. It's like a coming home. This is what this container is. It's a coming home. It's an opportunity to understand the vastness of who you are in a 6-month period, but to not limit and to not deny that as we connect with water energy, as we connect with water serpent energy and water dragons and all that they have to offer and teach us, oh man, do we actually open the floodgates of change and expansion to be the norm, I'm hearing, but also to be at home with that, to know that your journey is one that involves a lot of transformation. And it doesn't have to be ungrounded transformation. It can be extremely grounded. This is why we're going to connect to the elements. We're going to connect to the grid herself, like the earth, like where I am located, where you are located. We're going to put our hands in the dirt. We're going to put our feet in the sand. We're going to get involved with this unfolding, like the mystery unfolding, right? Everything that has to do with the feminine, everything that has to do with the waters is by its nature. It involves mystery. It involves the unknown. It involves the unexpected. If you think of a woman who's pregnant, although the result for the majority of women is the same, that a baby will be birthed, there are so many unexpected happenings, pathways, how and when that baby comes out, where that baby is gonna be born, which one's gonna have to be cut open as a C-section, which one's gonna give, birth to a mermaid, meaning their baby's still in the sack, totally mermaid. And so I am going to highlight for you that the feminine, the journey with water, the journey with our emotions, the journey with mastering our emotional intelligence, of relating to others, of connecting to others, of streaming fluidly in this earth incarnation. It involves mystery. It involves unfoldments, unexpected things. It involves many timelines joining and then disjoining, going off, veering off, breaking off into their own streams. So I want you to access the part of you that knows that the journey of water is challenging, that the journey of water is rewarding, that the journey of water is unique to you. Nobody is going to experience for the waters or their emotional intelligence the way that you do. Nobody's going to experience their womb, their sacral, what they can create, what they came here to create, what they came here to birth in the same way. Just like none of us was born in the same way, on the same day, in the same country, at the same time, from the same mother, with the same intention. No. The journey of water is going to show you how intentional every single one of those parts of your story have been, so that you can become, so that you could unfold, so that you could flow as a divine soul blueprint that is unlike any other body, human, dragon, being on this planet. Just like the waters of the lake are not the same as the waters of the ocean, just like the waters of a underground spring are nothing like the salt waters that form below sea level, like the Dead Sea, also known as Yamamela, or the Salton Sea here in California. These waters are not the same. They don't have the same quality. They don't have the same purpose. They don't have the same memory. The rivers flow in different directions, and the rivers also have different purposes. They connect different places. They connect different beings. They connect different streams of information. And it's very important for you to begin to get more cozy with your frequency as it's coming in, as it's flowing in, as you're remembering, as things are triggering your waters to accept what a powerful, magical, mystical being you are, and how you cannot be defined. How you cannot be defined by the norm. How you cannot be defined by your community, by your family, by your country, by your passport, by your bank account, by any of it. No, this is a journey of sovereign remembrance. Why is it sovereign? Why is it sovereign remembrance instead of just remembrance? Well, because at the end of the day, this entire journey is in your hands. Every choice that you make, The choice is to watch a certain transmission, to skip out on a certain transmission. The choice to follow along, right? With the stream, let's say we're all sharing and collaborating and we're all working with rivers at one part of this journey, and it's your sovereign choice to decide, actually what's most aligned for me is to go to the ocean. What's most aligned for me is to work with the rain. What's most aligned for me is to work with the opposite of water, which is the fire in some instances. You will get these intuitive hits, you will get these knowings, and you will follow them. You will follow them. You will follow the waters. You will follow your waters. You will follow your flow. It's extremely important that you trust your waters, that you trust your womb, that you trust the activations that are streaming through for this beautiful container. They're not going to land the same way for every single one of us. Some of them may unlock things that are instantaneous. Some of them must unblock or unclog things, which then we have to look at. Like a dirty drain, right? And taking out whatever was clogging that drain. Does that just disappear? Or do you actually have to do something with whatever was in the drain? Do you actually have to look at it? Do you actually have to dispose of it? Do you have to, spend some time with that gunk? Maybe not too much time. Maybe a good cycle of time. That drain, that clogged drain analogy is something that is really important because it's taking it a little bit further, taking it from a higher perspective. Once you understand the energetics of your energy, once you understand the energetics of your waters, the way that you connect, the way that you weave, the way that you work, the way that you move energy, the way that you change reality, the more you will be able to see the parallels in your life of, actually, this relationship is clogged. Actually, this location, whether it's your home base, whether it's where you came from, like where your family's lineages stem from, maybe it's where you were born, maybe it's where you have settled and desire to live out all of your days, but you're going to have to, and you're going to be invited to understand a little bit deeper, well, what is the water situation where you are in the grid? And I'm talking about what is the water situation more from the macro. Like, does this place have murky waters? Does this place attract a certain type of taking energy, right? A lot of people coming and taking and not giving back. A lot of people that do not appreciate or do not feel grateful for what this location, what this place, what this part of Gaia offers. And you're going to be asked to start recalibrating the waters where you are located, recalibrating the waters of Gaia, recalibrating the rivers, the streams, the waterfalls, the lands without water, if it happens to be that you're in a place that doesn't receive water. The connections between the rain and the spring, right? The spring and the summer harvest. I'm feeling to have us together connect to Gaia through our root system, through the waters. And so we're actually going to use the lotus and the wisdom of the lotus and the master frequency of the lotus. Color of your choice could be blue lotus, could be golden lotus, could be white or magenta lotus, but we're going to use the lotus as a guide to help us feel grounded in water. And it may sound counterintuitive, but it's possible. to be utterly connected, utterly in tune, utterly tapped in with the earth element, but growing through water, swimming through the water, rising out of the water. And we're going to do this with our eyes closed, and we're going to involve our womb space. So you may want to just put your hands on your womb and start to sway a little bit, or maybe make a little circling movement, making sure that it's comfortable, doesn't feel forced. It can be very subtle, it can be really small, subtle circling movements, just very gently. And we're going to imagine that the womb space is where the root system begins, the root system of this lotus. And from our womb space, we're actually going to send down, past our root, past our earth star chakra, further down, deep into the muddy, earthy waters, allowing the root system to really feel at home. Allow it to do what it needs to do. It remembers how to do this. It remembers how to connect, how to ground, and even past the mud, past the earth. It's going to go deeper into the core, spreading out, becoming really stable, becoming really powerful and vast, connecting to the crystalline core of this planet, Gaia Pachamama. Imagine all of these beautiful women in this container also connecting their roots, their root system to the same crystalline core. So this crystal actually is supercharged, loved, acknowledged by all of our roots, by our waters and our threads. It's really a profound network from which to source groundedness, from which to source stability, from which to resource a home frequency from this planet. Especially when we're feeling ungrounded, especially when we feel that we've been told in our life that we can't be grounded if we are watery, or that it's super hard, or that it's really difficult and challenging, and we consider watery beings or watery people very ungrounded, very unreliable, very changing moods, changing like the tides. And I'm here to tell you that in this instance, we're reclaiming the groundedness of water. Just like the lotus can ground so strongly, so deeply, that she then bursts forth through the water and blooms in perfect and divine timing for all of the world to witness, to be in awe of. And for many beings around the world to then be able to receive her glorious codes, and all of the world actually that might then experience that lotus in another frequency, like the tea leaf of the lotus, or the crushed lotus that becomes some type of medicine, or the lotus who gets oil extracted, its essence then becoming transformed and made into perfume, made into a beautiful tool for many of us to access and to learn from and to grow from. The connections of the lotus are going to be many in this container. You're going to see a lot of threads of how a plant that it's almost like it shouldn't be able to exist like that, but it does. Through adversity, it grows anyways, and it blooms, and it creates fragrance, and it creates a harmonic, right? That's mesmerizing. In some instances, we could call the lotus a lily. Thinking of other parts of the world where the lotus is actually a lily, the blue lily actually, instead of the blue lotus. The water lily of the Americas, the water lily of your own heart, of your own remembrance from many other water worlds, from many other water locations, and just from your memory bank of a different time, a different incarnation where sitting by the lotus pond or sitting by the lily field was actually something that goddesses and pregnant women and divine mothers and divine daughters, queens, empresses, even simpler women, even village women, even, women that lived on or along the waters. All of these women got to receive from these beautiful, beautiful teachers, these beautiful beings. And what's interesting is that I had no intention to bring up anything about lotus or lily. I really wanted to speak about dragons today. But it makes sense because it's all connected. I just want everybody to know we are now completely grounded into the core of Gaia and connected to each other in this grid through our own sovereign choice. Our waters are linked for as long as we choose. And our beautiful ally of blue lily or blue lotus, it's now become blue. We started with any lotus, any color, but now it's really transformed into this beautiful blue frequency. And I'm going to show you that I have this blue, call it a shawl, from the Mayan lands, and it's been warming my body here on this cold winter day, and it just makes sense for the waters. It makes sense that we're going to be working a lot with the frequency of blue, because blue has a lot of connections and threads to seeing clearly, to seeing from a higher place, to even be able to do other things with our sight. So for example, to be able to smell through our sight, to be able to feel through our third eye, to be able to hear from our third eye. These are things that may seem strange or may not, they may seem completely normal. Of course we can smell through our third eye. Of course, if we visualize in meditation a lily through our third eye, perhaps while using a crystal like sodalite or lapis lazuli, we might actually take ourselves to a moment, to a memory where we actually perceive scent, where we perceive fragrance, although there is no lily or no flower in the room, in the space. So that is a psychic gift that the lily wants to remind us of. We're going to start to activate these ancient gifts and these really potent water water frequencies, water gifts, water weavings, water blessings moving forward, because do not underestimate the power of just being able to feel, of being able to feel deeply, of being able to appreciate your waters, your ability to cry, your ability to bleed, your ability to cleanse your body, with the element of water by bathing, dancing in the rain, swimming in the ocean, listening to the drops of rain during a storm, listening to the thunder and the lightning, and knowing that something stirs, that something's changing. Something's no longer going to be the same frequency as it was before. And I want to share a story from the Mayan lands, because that was my intention all along. I was thinking about recording this video, speak about dragons, just kind of be in a little flow. And I love where it's taken us. I love that it's taken us to the blue lily, because the blue lily is on my altar. The blue lily has been a deep ally of mine in its essential oil, in dream meditations that I have invoked through, again, either the essence or the tea, or just the plant spirit without consuming it. Again, having it here on my altar, calling it by its name, calling the blue lily and saying, we're going to connect, we're going to go deeper. I want to know you. I want to smell through my third eye. I want to remember my Syrian timelines. I want to know that I'm offering this planet and the water specifically enough of me. I want them to know that I'm here to serve through my life force, through my dragon frequency. Because the way I see it, I have come from many water worlds. I have come from many places where the waters flow effortlessly. I have come from places where emotions are honored. There's nothing to judge about a watery being, or someone that has a deep connection to the spectrum of emotions. So maybe in other worlds the spectrum wasn't as wide as it is here, because the human spectrum of emotions is very, very vast. But in the realms where I have mastered, the other timelines and the other planets where I have mastered emotional technology, I decided that in this lifetime I wanted to upgrade the emotional technology of humanity. And that means experience the wide range of emotions here and alchemize and upgrade the way that we experience emotions, the permission that we give or that we don't give humanity to experience the good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything in between. And in every emotion, octaves of that emotion, right? So anger at level 5 versus anger at level 10 are not the same anger emotion. Grief at level 2 and grief at level 100 are not the same emotion. So these are things that are just streaming through right now as something that wants to be shared with you, because perhaps your emotional technology needs an upgrade. Perhaps the waters are going to be what provide us with that permission, that full release of anybody else's judgment or perspectives of our emotional states, and what is right and what is wrong and what is allowed and what is not allowed. This is the time to claim your emotional states as sacred, your emotional technology as yours, and to know that the plant realms are offering the blue lotus for this, the blue lily. A lot of us have come here from Sirius, from mastery in the star system, trinary star system of Sirius. And so we know what it's like to work with water in harmony. The ancient Egyptians, I should say, or the Kemetians, call the harmony of water Azgat Nefer. Azgat Nefer. The harmony of water. And this is going to be a key. This is already entering your field. This is already swimming its way into your heart, into your stream, through your own free will, as a code of remembrance. We know how to harmonize the earth's waters. We know how to harmonize the waters within us. We know how to harmonize our waters within, our organs, all of the systems, skeletal system, the muscular system, the lymphatic system. I don't know if I can remember all the systems because it's been a long time since I've been in a biology class, but there are many, many systems inside of the body that we know from Sirius how to harmonize. And it's time. Our harmony inside is going to expand the harmony in every other aspect of our life. It's going to ripple into harmony with the material, harmony with other beings that are not high frequency or that we just we're going to encounter in life that are going to be catalysts or teachers, and they're just going to teach us a lot through experience, relationships. Harmony in our waters within are going to harmonize our relationships, are going to harmonize time for us, timelines, past, present, future, parallel, and many, many, many other things. Perhaps you're already getting lots of hits for yourself personally on what this means to you. What does Asgat Nefer mean to you? So yeah, storytelling. Let's go to the Mayan lands. Let's travel to Chiapas, Mexico. And I'm gonna play a little music here. I'm just gonna offer some of the frequencies through the sound codes of this beautiful Mayan musical album that I love. And I want to offer you the story of returning to a place that I had been to several times as a different version of myself. So returning in a different octave, returning with different circumstances, returning with a different outlook, with more in my tool belt, with more life experience that would inform my time in this place. And seeing that because I had returned new, obviously I saw the place with different eyes and I felt different things in this location, in this town. And a lot of it actually was terrifying. What I felt in this place had to do with the corruption of the water, the energy of the raping and the pillaging of the indigenous wisdom and ways of being and their resources for greed, for ego, for obviously not for harmony, not for people who truly desire to connect and invest in that part of the grid, invest their time, invest their energy, invest their kundalini life force, their waters. It was a lot of taking energy. It was a lot of siphoning energy. And it had a lot to do with parasitical connections, right? People taking and not equally returning energy, right? Or not equally cycling energy, right? So when we talk about water, we're often going to talk about the circle, right? The cyclical nature of, there's no line, there's no straight line when you talk about water. You either talk about a curve, or you talk about a sphere, or you talk about a wave, or you talk about circling the energy. And this happens to be a place that is connected to cacao. There is a beautiful cacao shop, chocolate shop that is right in town, and I had visited this place in 2015, knowing that the cacao was sourced from a diverse part of Mexico, and that they were doing a lot of projects with the people that actually harvest the trees, in the jungles, and there was a lot of love that you could feel in the bar or the cup of cacao that you could have at this location back in 2015. And so I had this desire, as I knew I was returning here, I had this desire to connect with cacao in a deeper way here. Returning now after having much more of a connection and much more of a story arc with cacao, I was really excited to see what now are the cacao connections with this part of the world. I had come from the Mayan lands of Guatemala, and I was now in southern Mexico, the most southern part of Mexico, the region of Chiapas, which happens to be a very rebellious part of the country. A lot of people may not know that, but there is a lot of energy of resistance to even the language of Spanish, right? Because the indigenous people there have their own languages. Resistance of the government having so much of a say in how or what the people, again, indigenous people, what they do or how they do it. There's a really powerful revolutionary and, again, sovereign energy in this place. But the waters were telling me, and I'm talking about the waters deep underneath this town, were telling me that there was a lot of parasites in the waters of this place. There were a lot of people that were basically poisoning the land, poisoning the water sources, poisoning the pristine energy of this town. And I ended up getting parasites here. I ended up being really, really deathly ill. Very, very, very sadly, it had a lot to do with the longer arc of my story of allowing myself to be siphoned from, allowing myself to be taken from, allowing myself to be used by other people, because I was not sovereign yet. I was still seeking validation. I was still seeking connections with people, again, that I thought it was mutual, that I thought it was symbiotic, that I thought there was this circular, you give and I receive, and I give to you and then you receive, and it wasn't that. So my parasites were connected to that story arc that had brought me all the way some 4.5 months later to this part of Mexico. And the parasites were in my belly, they were in my system, they were in my waters, they were corrupting and making me extremely tired, making me extremely angry, making me extremely sad all the time. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop feeling just a sense of deep loss, a sense of death, and death with kind of no promise of rebirth yet. Death, right? The descent and then the rise. I couldn't see the rise. I couldn't see the rainbow after the storm. All I saw was shit's getting harder. Life is showing me that the journey of a dragon is more complex than I could have ever imagined at the time. I had already started my business, Dragons Love Cacao. I had already started, sorry, it's getting chilly here, so just gonna get a little more cozy. I had already started Dragons Love Cacao as my business. I was already returning to the lands of my ancestors to go deeper with the medicine. I was also simultaneously purging massive things from my waters, massive connections, relationships, entanglements, even financial, right? Our waters are often connected to finances, currency, relationships, mirrors, business partners, like all of these things, right? Anybody that we choose to engage with on a daily basis or extensively, those connections will be linked to our waters, to our womb. Just as much as if it's a romantic relationship or a very close relationship, again, could be just a deep friendship or a family member that we're connected to, well, that would also be linked to our heart, but they are all linked to our womb. So I was already in the process of purging out the old from this space. That's why the parasites came up. That's why I experienced another mini dark night of the soul in a country that still felt worlds away from any future timeline where I could be more grounded and more supported and more held in that process. I was still alone on the journey in the south of Mexico. And I'll share one more piece. Right before I did get that full parasitic, illness that I came down with, I was guided to buy some natural cacao, create an alchemy with it, and go to the high point in the city or the town, which is connected with the Virgen de Guadalupe, which is an emanation of Mother Mary. It's a virgin. It's an ancient goddess energy that in Mexico is venerated as many other divine mothers, more ancient than Mother Mary. But in this instance, this church is dedicated to the Virgen of Guadalupe. So I went to that high point. It overlooks all of the valley. It overlooks the town. It's very, very beautiful to see the mountains all around. It's a gorgeous place to connect with some high frequency energy. We usually go to high places like a hill or a mound or a mountain because we want we want to appreciate, we want to have gratitude and perspective, higher perspective on what's going on in our life or these types of things. So I go up there to have my cacao. I take my cacao in my thermos and I dedicate my cacao. I invoke La Virgen de Guadalupe and the lands where I am, which were San Cristobal, Chiapas. And I drink my cacao. And I had a very profound experience in that I felt the dragons up there communicating to my third eye and informing me that the reason I was experiencing such a disillusionment or like an apathy, but more than that, or not, I don't know if that's quite the word, just a little bit of disgust, a little bit of disharmony. There wasn't the connection that I expected. There wasn't the connection that I had gone ready to make in this location. There was something that was off. There was something that wasn't right. And what the dragons told me is that it has to do with the waters. And they told me that the waters were corrupted. The dragons of water had all left. The dragons of water of San Cristobal de las Casas were gone. The guardian dragons of this location were no longer there. And I had a wave of sadness. I had a wave of just disbelief, disgust, anger. Did I say sadness already? Grief, sadness, confusion. Because I had been here just a few years earlier and had such a profound experience. I was here in 2019. I was here in 2015. I couldn't believe what they were saying to me. I couldn't believe that the dragons would abandon these lands. But what I realized is that the dragons had been gone for a while, a long time. They weren't telling me that the dragons just left a couple years ago. They were telling me that the dragons, the water guardians, the water dragons of these lands were all gone. And they had been gone since before the time of the conquest of the Spanish, or about that time, you could say. And I remember feeling a little bit responsible, feeling a little bit helpless, but also responsible for, okay, but what do we do now? Like, my heart was so open. Obviously, cacao had opened my heart, and these lands, the Mayan lands, mean so much to me that I wanted to be of service. I wanted to be like, okay, well, give me the mission then. What's the mission? How do we bring the dragons back? And they didn't tell me how. They just said, you're going to bring the dragons back. You're going to bring the water dragons and the water guardians back here. And I felt like I got my mission. I got my, in that moment, I got what I needed. I heard and I felt in my whole being, again, with the cacao activating me, that high point overlooking everything. I felt like I got exactly what I needed. And I was, again, optimistic about, well, this is why I'm here. And I finished drinking the cacao. I come down the hill and it starts pouring rain, thunder and lightning, and the biggest, most beautiful storm. And that's something I haven't mentioned before. These lands are known for water. They are wet. They are tropical. Like, there's this, I don't know if tropical is the right category, but these lands are very wet and very green for a lot of the year. So it's not that there is a lack of water. It's that there is a lack of consciousness around how to be in harmony with the water that exists there, with the incoming water, with the rainwater, with, again, the sewage system, the pipes, what type of water are people drinking if we have all this rainwater and they're not collecting it to utilize it as crystalline drinking water. No, everybody's purifying disgusting water, and people are drinking no longer from the well springs, which was very common in Mexico, that people would have wells on their land, dig down into the earth and receive the waters for drinking, for their life, for their livelihoods. And that's all been long gone. Everything is modern. Everything is been constructed, and it's gotten bigger. It's grown and overgrown itself to the point where now there is disharmony in the waters. There is disharmony in the systems of water use. And again, there's no consciousness about that water. For the most part, from the majority of people, there is little to no consciousness. People have decided to just overlook all of the things that the waters offer us on a daily basis, the cleansing that it brings, the frequencies, the high frequencies that it brings to a city or to a town. Not to mention the minerals, the blessings, how it feeds the animals, how it makes things grow. Not to mention all of that. But just your basic, like, energetics of a rainstorm brings relief, right? Of like, okay, the energy shifting. The clouds and the water bring change and transformation. And after the sun comes out again, we have a new perspective or a new vantage point, a new place from which to open our eyes and look at the world again. So it starts pouring rain. I receive the message, okay, this is pure confirmation. The water dragons are gonna return. I have to have a hand in this, or I'm gonna, do my best to choose to fulfill this ask, right? To find the other water dragons, to find the other water guardians, etheric or in human form. I'll find them wherever they are. I will find the water sprites. I will find the water gnomes and the water devas and the water beings. But I'm also here with you because I found the water humans. And it has a lot to do with you possibly doing something like this where you live, for you to possibly choose a more vital, a more active, a more engaged role with the waters and the harmony of water, right? Once again, askat nefer, askat nefer. Trust me, guys, it's an exciting time, and it's my honor. It's truly, truly my honor to be here with you. We're going to go on this journey together. There are going to be many, many resources that I offer, both in the practical learning way, if you are better with books and being activated through knowledge. Others of you are much more hands-on, and I know you just cannot wait to be called now that you are opened and that you are activated to listen to the waters, to work deeply with them, to connect different waters to each other, right? That means sometimes asking Gaia if you can collect her water, right? This is ocean water. This is from a very special beach in California called Victory Beach or Victoria Beach. And deciding like, okay, how can I incorporate this into my magical, mystical dragon work? Perhaps drinking a little bit of this in sacred ceremony, in ritual, in an intentional practice to connect with the waters in a deeper way. Yes, it's salt water. Yes, it's from the ocean. And I'm telling you right now, you don't have to be afraid of drinking a drop of ocean water. Like, oh, it's polluted, or oh, who knows what's swimming in there. You guys, this entire container is about water. Trust yourself. When you get the guidance and you get the go ahead and it's like, yes, drink the water, drink the water. If obviously it's not the type of water that you are supposed to drink, it doesn't mean you can't take that water and offer it somewhere else, right? Maybe taking a little bottle of water from a water source that is corrupted and bringing that to a water source that is uncorrupted, like a pure water source, and allowing them to communicate to each other. It may be mixing the waters together. It may just be energetic, and you energetically put them together and you say to the water that is pure, you say, please, right? Again, with your magic, please transfer your water blessings and your purity and your frequency into these corrupted waters, into these distorted waters, into these murky waters. You are the magician. You are the sacred, ancient, wise water being that knows how to do this, that knows how to heal, that knows how to transfer, that knows that so many of us came here to affect, to really, really bring great, great change to this planet. And we're not going to be sitting along on the sidelines anymore, just waiting, like praying that the waters become uncorrupted, that the waters become clean enough to drink or swim in anymore. No, we are getting involved. Each of us is getting involved. We're going to get our hands and our feet wet. Trust me. You will know, you will hear the call. The waters will start speaking to you. The beings in the waters will start speaking to you. Your own water power will start speaking to you. The water crystals will start speaking to you. And of course, the water dragons. I went and got my blue lotus oil. Nymphae caerulea. Caerulea. Nymphae cae... I'm gonna put the name here because it's really hard to pronounce, but it's definitely got the nymph in the title. We're gonna bring in the blue lotus energy through her essential oil frequency. And we're going to set up a little bit of a water weaving here. We're going to invite magic. We're going to invite Lady Isis, who definitely knows a thing or two about Blue Lotus. Goddess Isis, Mother Isis. And all you have to do is be open to receiving what the lotus, what the lily has to share with us. I just want to make sure everybody is taking some deep breaths right now. Just getting ready for this energetic transmission. The transmission of the frequency of Blue Lotus. If you don't have her in your space, or if you don't know her, or even if you do have her and know her, but want to receive some threads, some pieces, some codes from her, she is ready to deliver them. And I'm also hearing, and this is a very interesting pair, I'm also hearing that we are inviting in the dragon ally Kukulkan, the plumed serpent of the Mayan lands. He's also known as Quetzalcoatl. So we have the divine essence, the life force of the blue lily or blue lotus, Mother Isis, Goddess Isis, Lady Isis, and Kukulkan or Quetzalcoatl. And they are going to weave as a beautiful trinity, as a beautiful maybe triple helix. You could think of it like a three-dimensional braid of energies that are going to activate, they're going to set up the call, literally like a telephone, from your womb space to the womb waters of the body of water that you are meant to work with throughout this container. There's going to be one body of water that each person is going to become an expert, a dragon guardian, and a dragon translator or communicator of this body of water. And we're going to report back to each other. We're going to have little water communion sessions where we say, this water said this water said that, this water wants to link with this water, this body wants to link with that body. And you will be seeing in the weeks and the months to come that not only will this connection become profound and easeful and graceful and strong, like literally an unbreakable bond, a beautiful soul contract that you came here to enact through your free will to assist in the rising of the waters and the rising of the water dragons and the return of the water dragons and water guardians to where they belong, to where they have been longing, to where they have been needing and aching to be once again. And you and I and all of us together are going to have a huge, huge part in that happening, in that return, in that harmony, that Azgat Nefer. Azgat Nefer. Azgat Nefer. Everybody feels to do a couple of chants with me here. This is just to really harmonize together. This is to give our yes, our permission to, I'm ready for that connection. I am ready for the call from the waters, from the source of water that I am here to work with. And we can chant together Azgat Nefer, and then from there I might prompt a few more water tones, so just kind of follow along. We'll start with at least 3 of the harmony of water tone. And remember, this is ancient Kemetian language, so it's gonna be activating in you pieces of remembrance. Azgat Nefer. Azgat Skat. Skat. I'm gonna move to Emosh. Emosh means water lily in Mayan. Ha, ha, ha means water. Ha, ha, ya also means water. Ya, ha, ya, ha, ya. Final water tone. Wa means water. Wow, 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 wow. I love this one because this one's very, very playful. Wow. And we can hear the wa in water. And even in Spanish, agua, agua. But wa is also Mayan, ancient Mayan, so we have the wa signaling the waters. It's already sending out the call. Ha ya wa. Water times 3. Water Trinity. Ha wa. Ha ya. Ya ha. Ya wa. Ya wa ha ya wa ha. Yawaha Yama, Yawaha Yama, Yawaha, 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 Yawaha. So for now, play with these tones. I'll make sure you have all of them listed, and really wishing you a very nourishing, a very beautiful integration period, a very expansive dream state tonight, as you most likely will be dreaming with Blue Lotus or Blue Lily or Emosh. Very unexpected, but also not that unexpected guardian that wanted to come in for this transmission. Please know that there is nothing to rush. This entire unfolding is going to happen in perfect and divine timing, and I'm here all along the way, all along the journey with you. So just know that you're very held not only by me, but by all the beings that are in my pantheon, that are in my beautiful council. Kukulkan especially today offering its frequencies on 13 Kan, which is a very powerful dragon day. So just know There are waves and waves of love coming your way. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for saying yes to such a potent earth call, earth mother call, and water call. Wahawa, wahaya.